This is the 139th episode of CloudFocus Weekly for the second week of June 2013. This episode is titled Exactly Flatter. CloudFocus Weekly is sponsored by Arkus, your cloud computing experts. I'm your host, Jason Atwood, and joining me for the second time in this new studio is Justin Elstein. Justin, how you doing?
I'm good. Thank you. Thanks for asking.
How's the new studio?
It's looking better than it was the first time we podcasted in it.
It has some...
It's got shelves and stuff
Arky
on the
the
wall.
Rock.
It's got Arky the Rock. It's got Appy Awards and placards, and whiteboard is full of drawings and architectural stuff.
And maybe next time we're in here, we'll have our screen up.
If we had the screen up, we could throw the agenda up there.
Yep.
And then we would only really need one computer.
That would be crazy. I guess it would be mine since I'm doing the recording on mine.
Yeah.
All right.
Probably yours. We might have to test that.
We might have to test that.
Let's do a test podcast, like on another podcast.
On another podcast?
We'll see if that works.
Okay. We do have an agenda today. First of all, apologies. Apologize.
All right. So
publicly
my
to
fault,
everybody.
Publicly apologizing.
Was
for
I
last
was
week.
I here in New York ready to do a podcast?
You were here in New York ready to do a podcast. I was in Massachusetts not ready to do a podcast.
Not ready to do a podcast.
And we did not announce prior to missing a week that we were going to miss a week, so we missed a week. And we've now missed 2 weeks in the last 2 months, which is kind of one of our worst stretches, I think.
Yeah, we are CloudFocus Weekly, so I consider it a year-long goal to hit 52 episodes.
Which we tend to come really close. We think
because Dreamforce, I think we double up.
We definitely
double or triple up
at Dreamforce, if not triple, depending on when Dreamforce actually is. If Dreamforce is later in the week, we usually do a Monday, and then
I can guarantee you this week we'll probably
Dreamforce.
do a pre-Dreamforce and then a post-Dreamforce.
We'll probably do an at Dreamforce one, if not two, and then a post Dreamforce maybe after the fact. But nonetheless, we're at 139, and
it's a lot.
That's a lot, so deal with it.
Deal with it. Deal with Justin and his
Let's just get to our agenda.
Schedule.
What do we got? Right. We got a blog post, right? You wrote a little custom button stuff, right?
You want to move off the subject?
I just want to move right off.
All right.
Custom buttons, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get into that. A little Salesforce acquisition. I'm taking over your role.
Wow.
That's it.
All right.
I'll just sit here. You're obsolete.
I'll just sit here and sound stupid then. That's your role. All right. Here we go.
Yeah, you take my role.
All right. I won't be here then next week. That'll be your role.
I'll just take over. I'll just put you on mute.
Okay.
Salesforce buy some stuff.
Excellent. I would like to talk about that.
And then, of course, as Apple geeks and fanboys and whatever you want to call it, we watched the WWDC keynote yesterday, live streaming on the web, which was really nice. And we'll talk about some of the takeaways from WWDC, and then we'll end it all with our picks.
CloudFocus Picks of the Week. I was just adding one thing that I remembered. All right, so let's talk about the first and most important thing, which is my blog post from last week.
Yep.
There's a new one coming out this week.
Yep. I have written it. It just needs to go up on the web.
Yes, it needs probably some love. But anyway, last week's...
some love? What you talking about?
I don't know. I haven't read it yet. Mastering...
That's what I mean. Read it. Let's go.
I got to read it.
With.
So last week
Can we foreshadow? What is that blog post about?
blog.arkusinc.com was Mastering Salesforce Custom Buttons Part 1. So I went to write this about mastering Salesforce Custom Buttons, and I realized it's too big for one big blog post, so I figured I'd break it into 2 parts. So I broke it into sort of the easiest part at the start, and then next time, I guess in my rounds of 4 weeks from now or 3 weeks from now, I'll write part 2. But this week was really talking about how to what custom buttons are in Salesforce, how to build the basic ones, and how to pass basic parameters across. So you want to pass the name of something, you want to pass the an ID of something, basic stuff. And the next part, I'll talk about how to pass in complex things like lookup fields, which is gets a little bit more complicated because you actually pass in 2 parameters. You're passing the thing it is and the name of it.
Can you talk about record types too? I'm going to throw in a little request.
Sure. I talked about it this time. Actually, I did say that
you did record types.
Oh, I said that you can reference the record type. I even showed in the log in the thing I showed, and record type equals.
Oh, okay.
So you can put that into your custom. The real use of a custom button is pretty much to pass data between two different objects, right? So if you have one object and you want to make another one of it, there's a button called clone. So if I have, let's say, an opportunity, I want to get all the data from an opportunity to another opportunity, well, hit clone, and then you got it, right? So that's not the use case. Is really
there are some records that do not have clone buttons, though.
Yes, that's true. So this could be used for that. But if generally it's to move data between two things that are different, but then carry a lot of the same parameters. So my example in the blog post, carrying data from an opportunity, right, over to a project. So an opportunity record to a project record, from an opportunity object to a project object. And it might have some of the same stuff. So maybe the close date, it might have things like a start date or an end date. It might have the name, it might have a description. It might have, like, let's say, a lookup to a project manager. It's all fictional stuff, but you might want to carry that stuff over without having to copy and paste, right? Because it's two separate objects in Salesforce, and then it's two separate records, and you can't clone between them. You could build a trigger to do this, but sometimes it's just easy to build a nice little custom button. So anyway, that's the example I started. You should go read it. It's at blog.arkusync.com. It's got lots of comments. Boy, the comments just flowed in. By that, I mean one.
There's 2 comments.
2 comments. Well, one's mine.
One's you. So,
do you know what's funny on the commenting?
What is funny? Tell me.
Our blog post about GTD still is getting commented on.
Lots of comments?
Yes.
The cross-object workflow one also
has lots of comments.
Has comments and gets read quite often.
Which is, by the way, if you're on our blog post or on a podcast, you can comment at the bottom using discuss, leave a message, whatever.
Discuss
reply.
Is really cool.
It is pretty cool.
It's a very cool little widget.
Yep. So go ahead and do that. That's at blog.arkusync.com.
All right.
Next
moving
up,
right along.
While we were away, nothing happened in the world of Salesforce.
Ho hum.
This is huge news. I just don't know how it's huge yet.
Well, you won't know until at Dreamforce you see some demo of something that you'll then get to use only if you pay for it a year after.
Wow.
So come DF14, you'll be able to use like exact targets, email.
I don't think so, because Exact Target has a very good integration to Salesforce already.
They do.
All they need to do is throw a Salesforce logo up there.
Yeah, but they don't. That's like step 1. So like, kind of like, trying to think of Live Agent, for example. So that already existed as like an integrated product with Salesforce. It rolled out.
Right.
And then in spring 13, it became like platformized. So it became totally sort of morphed into a different product.
Right.
A lot like...
Why don't we take a step back? For those who don't know...
Oh, yeah. What are we talking about?
Right.
Salesforce purchased Exact Target.
For how much?
For $2.5 billion.
So is this their biggest purchase to date?
I think it is. I don't know that for sure.
I'm pretty
sure.
But
I'm pretty certain that it's their largest to date acquisition. They purchased it for $33.75 a share of Exact Target's stock, a 50% premium over the close of the previous day, which was $22. Yeah.
So what is Exact Target and Exact Target?
So Exact Target, well, to me, they're a mass emailing tool. They may talk about themselves being like a full marketing automation suite, with mass email being a portion of it. But to me, Exact Target fits in the slot of email delivery.
And what was my prediction? What is the one that I predicted they would buy at the beginning of the year?
Oh, wow. We'd have to go back and look.
I will find that.
Did you say that they would buy like a mass email?
Yeah. I think I said Mark. I think I said product.
Marketo?
I don't think it was Marketo.
Because I think Exact Target purchased Pardo, which was the marketing automation suite. So there, I guess Salesforce now owns both of them.
Oh, I said HubSpot.
Oh, you said HubSpot.
So close.
Well, there you go.
All right.
So Exact Target, they're kind of in the middle of the market. I don't think of them as like low end players. I don't really think of them as high end players.
I feel like they're more towards high than they are middle, because I feel like in the middle is the vertical responses.
No, they're in the low end. Like
constant contact,
yeah,
low.
Well,
eye contact.
Exact Target, according to the article that I was reading about it from Forbes, whom I trust, Exact Target competes most directly with Constant Contact, MailChimp, and those are ones that I would say are like sort of in the middle.
It's maybe because I feel like their Salesforce integration was always
they're also
better,
more expensive,
and they're more expensive.
So expensive doesn't always mean like better. And that's why Marketo has come out and said this doesn't really change anything for them. They don't care.
Of course they would say that. Yeah.
Coming off their IPO, and they think of themselves more as marketing automation and setting up really complicated campaigns based on knowing who the customer is, automation, sending emails, doing all sorts of fun stuff. I've used Exact Target. I haven't seen that capability in it. I may be wrong. Again, they bought Pardot, and I think Pardot brings some of that to the table. So I don't know, everything that Exact Target has to offer at this very moment. I've done the Salesforce integration with Exact Target on a couple different occasions. It's pretty good. You can do a lot from within the Salesforce interface. You can also do even more outside of the Salesforce interface, inside of the Exact Target interface. So the integration is there, but like I said, I feel like they're going to take some time to platformize it, if that's a word.
Yep, it is now.
Include it in the Marketing Cloud suite and have a Marketing Cloud product, which I think this was sort of the last, I won't say the last because it's ever evolving, but a missing piece, a big gap. Because
mass email is a big gap.
Huge gap. It's still a thing. Like
people still email.
People still receive emails, and people still get those mass emails and take action on them still, right?
And honestly, the Salesforce mass email tool, both the text-based and the HTML-based version, which had some nice features in it, really in the last year or so is showing its age. The building of a template, the tracking,
it's complete. I mean, it's nonsense.
Very well. Again, I still show some clients, and they're like, "Oh, that's cool," and you're like, "Yeah, that's very."
I mean, it's very good if you really know HTML and can pop your own HTML into like a custom template, or if you can do a Visualforce template, those are nice. But like the letterhead and that's just a nightmare and a mess. And it just doesn't. It just looks so like late 90s, early like 2000s. It just doesn't look right now. So they'll definitely benefit from that. They'll also benefit, in my opinion, from the deliverability perspective. So now you don't have, Salesforce can now own and rely upon a more reliable service for actual email delivery. Like, I feel like the mass email and even one-off emails from Salesforce, the deliverability of it is, I mean, it's good, but it sometimes gets called into question, like, whether it hits spam folders or not.
Yep.
And I'm hoping that in time, every email that you send out of Salesforce goes through the Exact Target deliverability mechanism, so that it gets through, some better channels for sending out emails, whether they be system generated emails like workflow alerts and things of that nature, or the one-off click send email, off it goes. I'm hoping it goes through the Exact Target delivery mechanism.
Well, and I again, as a consultant who talks to lots of people who want to do mass email, who don't need, the big players, they just want to go above 5,000 or whatever the limit is, 1,000, 250 in a batch, the limits on the licenses, and they just want the next step up. So I'm hoping that what they do is they build the next step up. Sure, maybe it's a pay, and I think they'll throw some into higher end versions, like they might make it a little bit,
if you're on Enterprise or Unlimited, maybe you get to use some of this stuff.
Right, and you might get a better template bidder.
Like
and
the native mass email tool uses this.
Right. And it also includes some of the better tracking, meaning link tracking within emails.
Give me the clicks.
That sort of stuff. Right.
Because the HTML email in like related list is just the first thing to get removed off of a page like that. Because I just don't want to, like, people get very confused by it, and people don't really know how to write HTML emails, and showing them how to do the templates.
Really, the letterhead's pretty easy.
Yeah, but it's
throw a logo up there and the colors, and you're done.
You got those pin lines; they're very weird.
You just change the color of them to white.
They're just.
I just always change it to white.
It's just awkward.
All right. I mean, again, hey, listen, this is the new game of Salesforce buying stuff and integrating it. Definitely missing piece. Definitely excited to see it hit the main product mix. Know that that's going to take a while.
It's going to take a while to be.
In a year from now,
I
think from a year from now, we'll be looking at it being a bigger piece. I also feel like it's something that, if you're a vendor, if you're a Constant Contact, iContact, MailChimp, Vertical Response, I think it's a warning shot, right? That your stuff better do a lot of things that we're not doing. Again, we've seen vendors we've seen vendors who do certain things, and Salesforce does it a certain point. They never go and blow it out. They never make it end to end. They always make it like it's good enough to sell with their licenses.
Mail merge as an example.
Mail merge is a dead horse that someone should shoot.
That's why anytime anyone asks, I want to merge documents, like, go get Conga merge.
Right, or draw loop.
I usually say Conga merge.
I say Conga merge. I just want to throw draw loop out there because we always say Conga, so it's not fair because draw loop exists. It exist. Similar price, I mean, it's very similar. Yeah. The interface for it is pretty neat too. I just want to throw it out there. I'm throwing it out there. I've never used it, but draw loop. Do it now. All right.
What'll be their next acquisition, I wonder?
I don't know.
I wonder if they're going to go and purchase a integration suite. Now that would be cool.
Yeah.
Go get an integration suite.
Jitterbit.
Go buy Jitterbit or any of the ones that are like out there as free agents.
Right.
And just make it so simple to integrate.
I just don't think that by buying that it makes it simple. As someone who does the integration, it's not
just have it available though as
a package,
as part of your suite, Salesforce. we have an integration package.
I don't know if that gives them any. I don't think that gives them. Yeah, it's part of your license. That'd be nice.
Part of your unlimited license. You get to integrate with anything.
Right.
Not have to write like code and stuff.
I just don't think they'd want to get into that game. That game is very, very tough.
They've gotten into some games here the last couple of years.
But this game made sense. Integration doesn't make sense. Integration is something that what you have to know when you do integration is not Salesforce. You have to know the other 40 million connectors. That's not someplace they want to put money. I wouldn't put money there. Email is one thing. It's email. You have to know email. But going to have to know how to connect to SAP, connect to Microsoft SQL, Windows 2000 servers.
That's why you're not building it. You're just buying it.
Yeah, but then you have to build it. You have to keep building it, keep updating it. And then when SAP comes out with their new APIs, no way. I advise you not to do it. Well, listen to me, Salesforce.
Salesforce, the entity, is listening.
All right. Well, speaking of things,
want to get to fun stuff?
Are you saying that Salesforce buying ExactTarget is not fun?
Salesforce buying ExactTarget to me is fun when it's just an acquisition though. It's not. I didn't see anything. It's words on a piece of paper.
You just have to see it to believe it.
I gotta see it. I want to see what they do with it. There's all sorts of things they can do with it. They bought DimDim 2 years ago. I still haven't seen anything.
DimDim.
That's why the safe harbor screen's always up there.
I think DimDim is really in chat. Well,
that's a waste.
Haven't we seen? Again,
we've seen demos of screen sharing in Chatter.
Where is that?
Safe harbor. Safe harbor applies.
Yeah. And speaking of which, we're now on summer. Summer's rolled out, and
have you noticed summer's been a bit of a odd rollout. There's been some quirks.
Really? What have you noticed?
With Chatter.
Well,
so Chatter has the performance of it has gotten a lot better. Yeah. I feel it's a lot snappier. Have you noticed that? Opening and closing the feed on record, even chattering something. But then at times it's slower because it's trying to add the topics and do all that stuff.
Right.
And then I've noticed with really long chatter feeds, it scrunches the related lists over, like to the right-hand side of the screen. So there's a lot of UI funkiness with Summer that I've noticed that I haven't really experienced all that much in the past. I'm sure there'll be like maintenance releases to fix all these little, I mean, they're tiny things, nothing like broke or anything,
right?
To my knowledge. I've been playing with some stuff. I put a chatter publisher action in our org.
Nice. For what?
To do time entries on deliverables, just to play with it. I actually chattered it the other day.
Yeah, I missed it. I didn't pay attention.
I hashtagged it org work and it added the topic for me.
Okay.
Little under the kimono. Arkus org work, hashtag org work.
Hashtag org work. All right, so I go into a deliverable and I can go.
You can pull down the chatter feed and add a time entry. It's actually slower than just clicking the new button.
Yeah, the more buttons aren't giving me anything.
What do you mean it's not giving you anything?
I can't click on it. It's not doing anything.
Oh, there's a UI kink.
JavaScript void, it says.
There you go.
All
See,
right.
there's a lot of that.
I blame you for setting it up.
I didn't know because I did it. It worked for me.
All right.
See, there's a lot of little buggy like UI stuff.
I don't even know how they try to keep up with. I think as the
browsers go, they have so much testing to do. It's unreal.
Ridiculous. Hopefully they've automated a crap ton of it. Because I mean, not knowing what version of anything you're on. I mean, I'm on version. I don't know. Let's see, version 27.01 on.
Speaking of versions.
All right. Speaking of versions,
wasn't that an interesting slide at WWDC?
Are you segueing me?
I segued you right into WWDC. Wasn't that an interesting slide?
I really want to talk about the version of Chrome I'm using some more. I think this
wasn't that an interesting slide about the mobile operating system ecosystem when he put up the slide of iOS users versus Android users? And here we're going to come off very biased. I apologize already to all the Android users out there.
We love you. Keep downloading.
But wasn't that,
you don't have to listen,
wasn't
just
that
download.
An interesting slide where it was like 93% of all iPhone users are on the current version of iOS.
Yes.
And the majority, it was so splintered, the Android ecosystem. It was like 30-something, 20-something, 30-something, and then a bunch of other. It's like 33% was the majority. It was the highest percentage of users on the same OS version, and it was a version from 2010.
Right.
That's 3 years ago.
Well, he did say 2010 like it was a billion years ago. He goes,
it's still
from
3 years
2010.
ago. It's still 10. A long time ago.
I remember we were on Windows 2002 or Windows 2000 in 2010.
Yeah,
so, I mean,
but now you're comparing them to Windows, so that's not a very good thing for Google either.
So it's an interesting point because I was at a Salesforce presentation today where they did the Salesforce Song and Dance, and it had other vendors there. But one of the things they said is they were talking about the principles of the cloud and how the cloud, one of the things they said is, everybody on the same version, easy updates, automatic updates. And I thought, and it actually hit me because now really automatic updates and easy updating of your software is no longer a cloud thing. Like my computer auto updates all the time.
Yeah.
Right?
Sometimes I have to restart it, but that's it.
But my phone does it all the time. And now in the new version, this is when we'll talk about iOS 7. And this has been in Android for a while, which is auto update. Just give me the newest version and just do it behind my back, and I don't care.
Right.
And it's like I actually go in to see that number because then I like to see
I like to see the things that are in it.
I want to see if it's new features, right?
Stuff.
Because if it's auto updating behind my back, I don't know if my favorite game, which I might actually make as my pick of the week. I might change my pick. I just thought about it. I want to know what they just added. They might add a new level or a new warrior or something. And
3.0, it's got new stuff.
So I wonder if in the new settings, with you'll be able to say if it's just if like a maintenance, just auto do it. If it's not, tell me, because I'd like to see if it goes from 3 to 4. I'd want to know because it might be something big. Anyway, so let's talk about WWDC.
I already started with iOS and showing the splinteredness of other operating systems.
That was the marketing slide. The big announcements first was really iOS 7.
Yeah.
Which
wasn't really first, but it was the biggest.
It's the biggest. It's really
what everyone wanted to see.
Totally redesigned from head to toe. They made, I was saying, my favorite part of WWDC is that they found their post, and we were chatting. We were the geeks, right? We're video watching this, but then chatting on IM about it as we watch it. I was like, they found their voice. Like, Apple has found their post-Steve Jobs voice.
Yep.
Because the first two that I've seen since Steve Jobs, it's been like they tried to keep the Steve Jobs, like, the very, like, somber, like, I'm showing you something excellent. It is excellent. Don't you love it? And Steve Jobs was great at that. These guys, like, a lot of them, they were cracking jokes.
Yeah.
They were like,
who's the head engineer guy?
I don't know.
Don't remember his name.
No.
But he was awesome.
And he's like, because one guy would clap, and he's like, that guy likes that thing. Yep. And then they, and I will say, they made more shots over the bow of themselves, which Apple generally doesn't shoot it itself. So they made comments about fake cows being killed, for skeuomorphism, which is where you take something that is a computer program and you make it look like it's not a computer. Like, I'm looking at GarageBand in front of me, which has wood panels down the side of it. It's an application. It doesn't have wood panels. You don't have to make it look like it has wood panels. Or, the calendar, which has literally torn pages. And, like, so it's the idea is, like, supposed to make you feel comfortable because it's a calendar, so it has torn pages in it. But they've moved completely away from that, away from the shiny, away from the curves, away from the, like,
it's straight and clean.
It is straight and clean. And honestly, it looks very nice.
It's stripped down.
And B, it looks very like every other operating system. I mean, it's funny because every other operating system started to look like Apple because of all the icons and stuff, and now they've kind of come back. But it's nice, with iOS 7, it's like, I'm going to have it. It's going to be on my phone. I'm going to get it the day it comes out. I'll download it, install it, and I love all the new features. And that's it. What I'm more excited about, maybe we should move into like a cloud version of this.
iCloud?
Is really the way that they're using iCloud. And there's two big ones that they announced that I thought were fabulous.
One was very sexy.
So sexy.
One was like
explicit.
Super, super
So they announced maps for, so they started there's a new version of macOS 10. But again, this is a cloud computing podcast, so we'll stay away from sort of getting too much into hardware stuff. But they announced their version of Maps on the desktop. So Maps, that was now, whoever you like it or not, is now on the desktop, and it's its own app, which is neat. But the thing that I think makes what I love that Apple does with cloud computing is that they make cloud computing something that's just there, but you're never thinking about it. Like Evernote and Dropbox and Google Drive, I'm thinking about it. Like, there's my Google Drive. There's my this. That's syncing. That's happening, right? I don't think about that with iCloud. I don't see things spinning around. Think about it. You don't see things saying, iCloud is updating or things are happening. And they've done that even more now. And one of them was the maps. You get directions on your computer, right? You're sitting at it. This isn't like groundbreaking, but you see some directions on your computer and you go, okay, great. And you just say send to phone. And just whoosh, it goes, and then it pops up on your phone and you hit go and I
can't tell you how many times I've sat in a Google map and like sent myself the email or the link or the SMS with the short link.
Right.
This is something that I'm going to use constantly because before you leave, I mean, I know I have it on my phone and I know I could type it into my phone or tell Siri or ask her to get me somewhere and she's going to be wrong. But the ability, I always look before just because I want it on a bigger form factor to see the whole thing, right? It's nice to see the whole.
Yeah, we're the whole by the thing. Way, I'm going to go sexist here. We're guys. Guys like to like look at the map before. I'm generally going north.
Right. I want to see the thing.
Right. I've done it like 3 times today.
Yeah. And then once I've done that, I just want to know that I can rely on the fact that whatever thing that is going to tell me to get there is going to get me there.
Right.
So, okay, this looks like the right route.
Right.
get it to my phone because that's what's going to be on me in my car.
Right.
And then I'm going to swipe a thing and go.
Right.
And that sounds great. And then to add on to it, they talked about the car.
Oh, I was going to talk about one other.
You want to stay on the cloud and then go to the car?
Well, we'll talk about the car. We'll come back to the cloud.
That made me want to buy a new car. That's so sad.
Well, the look of your car should make you want to buy a new car.
Well, that's true. My car is really bad. But
let's just say you had a street vendor repaint your car.
I don't really care about my car.
I'm saying he paid some guys on the street to repaint his car.
Not to repaint it, to like repair it.
And paint it.
Well, they had to paint it. I wasn't going to leave it with like Bondo.
Yeah, that would have looked so much better than it looks now.
You're right. It looks not the same.
Horrible.
It's the worst car ever.
People on the street literally fixed your car.
Yeah.
Like they don't have an
on
office.
The street.
They don't. Yeah, they didn't move the car.
They were like driving around. This is a complete rat hole.
But this is a New York thing.
Yeah, it is. They were driving around. And they literally pulled up next to me and were like, "Hey, would you like us to fix your car?"
Try not to do accents. Okay.
And I was like, "What do you mean?" They're like, "All those," because it was literally that day, that morning.
Think this is a coincidence?
This is crazy. That morning, I was driving.
You don't think this is a scam, do you? That they come and because you actually banged it.
I did it.
All right.
In the morning, I was driving to work, and it was like garbage pickup, and I was like frustrated, and I just wanted to get past the garbage truck,
right?
And there just wasn't enough room,
right?
And I decided instead of like rubbing my car up against the cars parked on the street, I would rub my car up against the garbage truck, and I just totally scraped up the entire side of my car, dinged it, banged it,
right?
Scraped it, the whole nine. Later that afternoon, driving home, these guys just pull up next to me and they're like, "Hey, we'll fix your car." And I'm like, "Oh my."
Yeah.
You guys just drive around like this? They're like, "Yep." I'm like, "This is what you do?" They're like, "Yep." I'm like, all right.
You must be great if you're driving around in a car.
I really don't care about my car, but it would be nice to not have this whole thing smashed in on the side.
All right. Tell me how iOS is going to make your car better.
Well, it's not. I'm going to have to get a new car.
Yep.
But the ability to just have iOS on any screen in a car, not clear yet exactly how this is going to work.
I think it's more like AirPlay.
I feel like it's going to be AirPlayed from my phone to a screen that is going to be like enabled to handle iOS.
Yeah.
And then maybe some controls on the steering wheel to like press and tell Siri to do something.
Yep.
Like, have a Siri button on the steering wheel and say, "Get me directions
to
whatever."
Now. I can talk to Siri from my phone, my
my
car. I can just hit a button and it opens up the thing, and I say Siri something.
I don't have this at all. Well, I don't have Bluetooth even in my car.
You can get a guy in the street to put in
crap.
Bluetooth.
I don't think so.
He literally comes over with a tooth and he paints it blue and he throws it in
having
your
a
car.
screen that just can utilize the iOS stuff, it makes. I mean, Microsoft I think was really early in this game. They have
the built-in one.
Right?
It's built in,
totally built in
sync. Yeah,
and it can do all that stuff.
Yep.
But being able to really control all the things that your phone can do.
Yep.
In a car setting without having to do anything with your phone.
Yep.
And have a screen, like an external screen, that to me is really, really cool, and that's where cars are gonna go.
Well, it's interesting because the interfaces for cars, those in things,
usually terrible.
I was in a couple this week.
Yours is bad.
Well, the interface with it is bad. The screen is nice, but the
screen is the screen.
Because you think about it, you're driving, you got one hand.
It's terrible though. It's like with knobs.
That's right. It's
things.
knobs.
You just want to talk to it.
Right.
You really do. That's where Siri's going to need to pick up her game because you're in your car. You want it to be right.
Yep. So I'm excited about that. But again, back to the cloud stuff.
Back to iCloud.
Again, what I really like about it, and I hope other cloud people out there are listening to this, is that I still think there's a good world of mixing sort of cloud technologies, right? Internet-based things, and things that are existing on your desktop that are installable, whatever apps. And some of my favorite apps, and some of the apps we use constantly, bridge those gaps. Even Chrome and Safari really are kind of talking back and forth, right? So there's Safari bookmarks and Safari read it later and all this sort of stuff that's beyond you even thinking about it. It's just pushing them this way. You can go into your Safari now and go see all your open tabs across all your iOS devices. That type of stuff is so, like, it's using the cloud, but making it sort of out of my way. So I'm not thinking about it. And I really appreciate the way that Apple is sort of doing that. Again, I don't really care about their email services, but their syncing of contacts and calendars, great. I never even think about it. It just happens.
Right. I oftentimes will modify a contact when they send me an email and it has their phone number in it. I'll just add it to the existing contact, and I know it's going to get to my phone. Right. And I know it's going to get to my iPad.
And all this stuff's getting better. Like they're talking about the next version.
It's gotten so much better.
They're talking about notifications now.
Do you remember how bad it was?
Oh, MobileMe was terrible. But in some ways, it was so cool at the time.
Yeah, like, it was terrible. I used to have like 5 of you in my phone. And I was like, why are there 5 of him? Oh, because one of them has one email and the other one has the other 16.
It duped this one and duped this other one. Right?
And then, this one has his cell phone and this one has his work phone. So this is work Jason.
So soon, what's coming that I'm excited about? They're doing passwords and credit cards.
Well, iCloud
syncing.
iCloud keychain.
It's called iCloud keychain.
Now that is hot.
It's hot, and security wise, this
Scary?
is why. This is why everything should be 2-factor. Because then you grab my iCloud keychain. Have a good day, sir. Try to log in, and it's going to ask you for another factor on me, and it's going to say, like, again, I could post my Salesforce username and login to Twitter tomorrow. No one's going to be able to get in.
Right.
They'll try, and they'll lock me out, but they won't be able to get in. So, but I love this concept. And then what was the other one that was big on the...
they had iRadio.
Well, iRadio, but then...
They had new hardware.
No, I was talking about the cloud stuff. So the notification stuff, that, again, stuff that's sort of cloud-based,
syncing
but not...
notifications. But they're catching up on that stuff.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So like when I see a notification on one side and I say, I don't want to see you anymore. This is like even like Chatter. I say, I see you, then I want you to go tell the other devices that I have seen it.
Yeah,
right?
But that's catching up.
Yeah.
Like they did poke a little bit at themselves for... Again, we say this every time. They have this incredible ability, Apple, to talk about how their own products, which are not even a year old, are complete crap.
Right.
And then
we took it, and we absolutely started from the beginning. It,
and it looks
it's
amazing.
We started with the most amazing thing, and then we decided it was crap. Then we turned it into the most amazing thing ever.
We took something, and we applied design and engineering together.
I will say, again, I'm an Apple fanboy, but I will say, if you just look at it from the other side, like if you just took off your Apple fanboy hat,
put on your Google Glass for a second.
Man, do they just crawl up their own butts
really
with like
do.
how great they are at designing for design and making sure the form and the function and design all meet at the pinnacle of the user. Right. And he's like, what did you say? He didn't say anything.
He said nothing.
Even when he was doing his part, what is the guy's name?
Johnny Ive.
Johnny Ive, who's now the new designer of all iOS.
He was like the head design guy.
Of hardware.
Oh, now he's got everything?
So Scott Forstall, who was the guy who used to design iOS, the guy, I don't know where he is now, but they were just throwing shots at him left and right. They're like, anyway, it was funny. But so then they go to John Ive's, his video. He always has the video where
the video's the greatest.
Where he's sitting there with his close cut shirt and his little t-shirt, and he's like, I took it from the design aspect. Anyway, but this time watching it, I was like, oh my god, it's like a parody of himself. He's doing the parody of himself
Live
doing
needs
himself
to do
of the
a
parody.
Johnny Ive video.
But they've done 10 of them. They're all over the web.
They're great. Johnny Ive is on his own. He's great. So there's iRadio.
iRadio, basically.
This is a Pandora competitor.
Yep. Free for iTunes,
Match
users.
Customers, which we are, or ad free.
Ad free.
It's free.
It is free.
It is free, supported by ads.
I mean,
and really, it's just to get you to buy stuff.
Yeah,
but again, that's Pandora's got the same model, right? You're listening
but you can't buy anything within Pandora.
Sure, you just hop over.
Yeah, but this is going to be like, I'm listening. Oh, I like Katy Perry's new song. Click. One click buy.
It's a total, get you to buy.
But as an iTunes Match user, fine.
And as an iTunes Match user, to have it for free with no ads, I will play with it. This will get me off of Pandora for a moment to play with. The only thing I wonder about is, where is it going to be on my desktop? Is it going to be in iTunes? Do I have to open iTunes to get to this? I really like that's the one thing that Apple doesn't always do is they build apps native apps as opposed to throwing out a website like
iWork
went to the web, but the maps should be on the web. Like that should be a web app. That shouldn't be an app.
But I bet you it'll perform. Unlike my speech, very, very well. Again, there's things that happen.
You're telling me Google Maps doesn't perform?
What you do a comparison once they have it in yes, because you're caught inside of a browser. You're in a browser rendering. You throw that same thing, and
you're still trying to pull stuff down from a service.
It's
anyway.
not the pulling stuff down that slows it down. It's the doing highly complex rendering. And in the maps, they're going to be using core imaging or core graphics. They're going to be using a different frame set, a different API, right, of the OS to render it, and it's going to render so much faster. Trust me, you're going to be like, oh yeah, I get it now.
Yeah,
you are.
I want things in browsers. I like things in browsers.
I like things in browsers if I need them in browsers, but
like I want iTunes Radio or iRadio, whatever it is. I want that in a browser.
See, to me, that's a bad example of a browser one because I'm in a browser. I shut down my browsers all the time. I shut them down and restart them. I shut them down and restart them because they clog down. I mean, even Chrome. I've seen Chrome slow down after the end of the day, and I'm like, gotta restart Chrome. I don't want to have to close it. Oh, there goes my radio station.
See, I don't have that problem at all. Yeah. I don't know what's wrong with your Chrome.
Chrome is awesome. They came out with a new airport.
Yeah.
Which is just tall and weird looking. They showed for the first time, they have a new MacBook Air. Fine. Built up nothing. They showed...
a lot of people are excited about that.
Really? What's so big about it?
People really love MacBook Airs.
I love it too. It's just not powerful enough. It can't do what I do.
Well, it can't do what you do. It can do what a lot of people do.
Yes, that's true.
Like if I was not a power user and this Mac wasn't my livelihood and needed it to do work on every day, if it was my just need a personal computer, I'd have a MacBook Air.
Right.
I wouldn't have a MacBook Pro. No need for that.
Oh, no.
No need for that as a personal computer just to futz around with.
No, you're right. For futzing around, no. And then they showed, this is the first time ever they've done this, they pre-showed something. They pre-showed the new Mac Pro.
Mac Pro, which replaces the old tower.
Which has been a long time coming.
They haven't built a tower in a while.
And this thing looks, I tell you, it looks like a black tower.
It looks like a Roomba.
It
it looked like one of those.
Looks like one of those Bluetooth speakers.
Yeah, it does. It looks like one of those. I said Roomba, but it almost looks like a keg. It has like handles on the top.
Oh, and lights up where you go near it. The ports light up.
Like a subwoofer.
Yeah, it does look like a little subwoofer. It does make. I mean, for the first time, because that big MacBook Pro, but. So then you sort of think, well, should I stick in the world of having one computer that does everything, or should I grab one massive computer, throw it at home, and then grab like a MacBook, like a 11-inch MacBook Air that just sits in my bag and I don't even access, right? But I just take it with me. It doesn't sit out. It just sits in my bag, and when I go, it's with me. And then my other one, I just leave on. And like you start to think of like where your work is and like what you can do.
It's a weird work-life balance for us, right? Because, you know, we have different work life than what most people don't have the luxury or maybe do have the luxury of having their work computer and then they go home and they have their home computer. We don't really operate that way. We have our computer.
Right.
And our computer is both our work computer and our home computer. That's because we are who we are. But again, most people have the notion of they go to work and they get their computer.
Right.
And but I think that's their computer.
But BYOD, bring your own device, is becoming more and more.
Not on the desktop.
That's not true.
People, I don't think that is a trend at the moment.
People want their computers, and if they get it, and they get a nice computer, they don't want to wait 2 years to get the upgrade at work. They're like, I'll just go buy my own computer as long as I can use it.
I think a lot of people get what they get at work. They might have to
order
what you
it, get,
go through.
You don't get upset.
Procurement thing. I think the BYOD is more for the tablet and mobile
smartphones
space.
Yeah. All right, let's get off the Apple bandwagon.
Let's do it.
And let's get into picking some CloudFocus app picks of the week.
Here's my phone. All right, so... Oh, I missed a call while we were gone. All right.
Well, we weren't gone. We were podcasting. While you were gone was last week. That's when you weren't here.
So, I'm picking an app called Twitter Music. It is free. It is to help you discover new music that people are tweeting about. There are different options. There's like the hashtag now playing by people that you're following. So you can, anyone that you're following and they can sort of hashtag now playing, and people tweet songs. You can look at popular songs that are trending on Twitter, emerging, which is like hidden talent on Twitter, or just like ways to surface music through being, popular on Twitter. So I hit my now playing tweeted by people I follow, and it brought up a few songs. Here's...
Oh, God, turn it off. We're going to get sued.
Oh, you're right. We are. How do I stop this? All right. So
it's the best app
song there. And you can listen to it, and then you can hop over and buy it in iTunes. That's kind of the
So it's
idea.
a app for...
It's called Twitter Music. It's actually from Twitter. It's an official Twitter application.
And you can play it inside
the application.
Okay. All right.
Plays like little snippets of songs. It's to help you discover new music that other people are listening to and tweeting about.
I assume you have to sign into your Twitter account.
Yeah, it is from Twitter.
Why not just build this into Twitter itself?
Don't know. It's a separate app.
Separate apps stink.
And basically, it's to help you discover new music. And the iRadio announcement sort of threw my whole head in a tizzy, because I've been in Pandora through and through from the start. So it's like, oh boy. So I started looking around, and I've actually had this one tuckered away for like 3 months, not picked it because, I don't necessarily use it all that often. But,
you've picked many things you've never used in your life, so that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I've used this a bunch of times just to play around. It's more of a play around thing. It's not something that you can sit there and use and be like, oh, I'm going to listen to a bunch of music and pop on Twitter Music. It's more to just discover what's going on in your feed. Speaking of which, that was my killer app from the WWDC. Sorry, but the whole new Safari, with the new the share, was it shared or like something I follow or whatever, the new pane in the left, the reading list area is getting a complete refresh, and they're doing, I mean, this is a really good example of like a tight, I guess it's kind of tight operating system level integration with an application on the system, where you just click in the side nav of Safari and all the links will come up that are in your Twitter feed. So all the things that people have thrown out there as links that you're following, boom, right there.
And what's nice is it's constant scroll.
So you can pop it into the reader mode and just read through the links.
Yeah.
I know you like Zeit and things like that.
10 times better, but yes.
But like this, I just like Twitter to find things, and this makes it so much easier because it just sifts out all the noise and just pops links into one spot.
I like it.
I think this is why Google killed Reader, because I think that type of thing is where it's going.
Here's the problem. It's still, the reason Reader still is better is because Reader is organized by topics. So like when I'm in the world of Twitter, I could be reading, let's say if I went to read so I have my followers, whatever, and I'm reading through their they could post something about Salesforce. Oh, I'm reading about Salesforce. Oh, now someone's posted an article about, a political thing. Oh, now someone's posted something about Iran. And I'm like, I like, and I think it's easier to read and to navigate articles if you have a topic that you're thinking about when you're reading them. I can scan through them quicker. If I'm reading about Apple news, I want to have it all organized so I can go, okay, that's iOS. Oh, that's interesting. I'm in a modality of reading about a certain type of news. Like we talk about Jets. If I'm reading about news, I don't want to have Apple News, Salesforce, Jets news. Like, oh, no. I want to read my Jets news. I want to go in. Oh, they're talking about Sanchez. They're talking about Tebow. They're talking about, okay, great. And I read through it, and then I go to the next topic. It's like in a newspaper, right? Here's the business section. Here's the life section. You don't have it all intermixed. Anyway. All right, I'm going to make a pick. So yours was Twitter Music. It's free. It's just music.twitter.com.
Yep.
I'm sure it's from multiple devices.
Yeah, I have it on the iPhone, though.
Okay. So I'm going to pick something, and then I'm going to unpick it because it is down. And then I'm going to pick something else.
Okay.
So what I've been trying to pick for weeks is something called Flash Panel for Google Apps. And what it is a application you sign in, give authentication to, and then it logs into your Google Apps, and it basically audits it. It audits your users. It audits your usage. It shows what people have been sharing and Drive and this. and basically gets you to see what's going on. You can set up roles and permissions. You can set up sharing profiles, so you can say these people can't share outside the org, or these people can. You can tell you where there are problems. You can set up monitoring of email. So if you're the admin, I can say I want to monitor someone's email. Basically, send me an email when they get an email. You can do all sorts of great stuff.
I don't want you to have this.
I've already had this, and I've been using it for weeks.
I don't like the fact that you have this.
Because one of the things about Google Apps is that, again, since there's such this nature of outsidedness of Google Apps, that you can't know what's going on. Like, so if we have hundreds of thousands of docs, what's being shared, what's being deleted, it's unlike a local area network where it's on a server and you can just back it up and no one's sharing it because you're controlling the share. But this is, you can share and you can let things go and you can share off to a friend. And so anyway, this thing kind of helps you deal with that. It's free. They're actually coming up with a pay version, but right now it is down. And
that's not good.
It runs on the Google App Engine, which has been down for about 12 hours.
That's no good.
Which brings me to my point of the cloud, which is that I had an experience with Google the other day where they basically removed a feature from Google Docs.
They modified a feature.
Well, they removed a feature. They
modified the way a feature works, which removed a
sub-feature.
Yeah.
Anyway, it wasn't documented anyway. I spent 20 minutes trying to figure out where it was documented. I then called up support, and they ran through the whole support side thing. Here's the note. The note is, if you want to be enterprise Google, you got to get better at this stuff. You can't remove features and then say, sorry, we forgot to document it. That is unacceptable. That is unacceptable. You can't be in the big, but you can't put the big boys. To literally have a ticket come back and say, "Oh, we updated the doc. Sorry, we forgot. We forgot to document that we changed something."
Right.
Like it is unacceptable.
No good.
So anyway,
but that's why big boys won't ever use Google for that type of thing, because it is while Salesforce is you're all on the same version, you're going to get upgraded, it is also very much we're not going to kill things off without telling you well in advance. As a matter of fact, there are things about Salesforce that should be killed off that aren't.
Right.
Tons of things.
Because I'm sure they have people, they know their usage, they know someone's using it. And
you can't just push out changes without...
I mean, they've done it, but they usually are pretty good about telling in advance.
They'll change a whole interface on you. Right. If you're dealing with an enterprise that has, small, like 500 users.
Right.
It's small, right? You can't just go change a user interface without telling somebody.
Why? But again, Google's gotten better at this. Like, they have now a release calendar. You can sign up for pre-release stuff or have things kind of phase in a little bit, but it's nowhere near what Salesforce does. Yeah. And this type of stuff just proves how bad they are. Their technicians didn't even know. This person didn't even know it was gone. She had it, and she could test it in 2 different apps. She's like, "Oh, I can see it working here, and it's not here." I mean, it was just cluster. So
that's your pick?
No. So I'm going to move on to something that's actually good.
Bad.
No.
That's a good pick, though.
I can't pick it because it's down.
Well, it's down now, but by the time someone listens to this, it's going to be...
I'm going to pick something fun.
Well, why don't you save it for the next time?
No, because I want to pick it now.
Well, I feel like this podcast is a little long, isn't it?
Everybody's going to love this pick. So everybody's known because
everyone just stopped listening.
Okay, the best pick in the world right now. Okay, now for everybody still here. So I've been a big fan of a game called Kingdom Rush. I think I picked it on this podcast.
Is that the one where all those things start coming at you and you have to defend it?
Yes, it's a tower defense.
I love those defense games.
I love those games. First of all,
you're a huge fan of those.
Huge fan, but this one's the number one best game of that.
Just the one you tried to get me hooked on, but it just didn't work.
Kingdom Rush is incredible. It's been out for a year. Kingdom Rush Frontiers just came out last Friday.
Boy.
The only thing I've actually put in as a task to buy on the day it came out.
Did you win it already?
$2.99.
Did you finish it?
Mega. It'll take me at least a month. Anyway, Kingdom Rush Frontiers. If you're a fan of Kingdom Rush, it is a great game. It's $2.99.
Did you play it on the subway and stuff?
I have been playing on the subway. I've been playing it when I went camping. I was playing it when I've just been playing it. I play it walking down the street.
Blasphemy! I played it when I went camping.
Well, at night.
I went camping and I brought my iPad
in the morning, games. When it was like really early in the morning and no one was up, and I'm like listening to everybody snore in the campsite, and it's like cold out. I'm like, play some Kingdom Rush.
Ugh,
that's not ugh.
Blasphemy.
No, Oh, what do you know about camping?
Blasphemy.
Nothing.
That still sounds like blasphemy. I don't think I'd bring my iPad.
Why not? Why? Are you going to drop it in the lake? You're going to break it on vacation?
Yeah.
Oh,
my poor screen. It's like
iPad
each
slam.
corner is just, they're like creeping towards each other. Eventually they'll meet.
Those are the gods of CloudFocus Weekly.
So terrible. I have to go to the Apple Store and see if they'll replace it for me.
All right, yeah.
I hope they will. They'll be like, pay us. And I'll be like, you're going to come out with a new one so soon. I really don't want to pay you.
Add it to the gods of the
I'll
lake.
just add it to the expense.
All right. Well, that's it. Speaking of expenses, this podcast has been expensive for you to download. So remember to go to arkusinc.com, blog.arkusinc.com, facebook.com/arkusinc. We're on the Twitter, Just Edelstein, Jason and Matt Wood on Twitter. We're on Google+. We're also on LinkedIn. If you want to check us out there, you can follow us on LinkedIn. They got all sorts of new stuff, ways of following and mentioning people on LinkedIn. It's kind of cool. And then, of course, we're in the Dreamforce portal if you sign up for Dreamforce. And if you're signing up for Dreamforce, remember to use the MVP code. Justin, you're going to know what it is right now?
Of course I am. The MVP code, which we got a notification about just a little while ago, it's been used over 300 times.
There you go.
Which is really, really impressive.
Yep.
So the MVP code is D. This is to get $100 off your Dreamforce. I think it's still $7.99 at the moment.
Yeah, but it's going to go up.
It's going to go up.
Well, wait till it goes up and then use this code.
Or don't and use this code and get it for $6.99. So it's D, the letter D, 13 MVP REF.
Right. And use that on checkout.
Leave off the last F for savings. That's D13, so like Dreamforce 13, MVP REF. Reference, I guess.
Yes.
MVP reference. I don't know. Whatever.
Referral.
Yeah, it's probably referral.
Referral.
So Dreamforce D13. Surprised there's no F in there. D13 MVP REF.
You'll be helping out yourself for the $100, and you'll be helping out us spread the word.
Right.
Other than that, we will see you next week if Justin's not up at the lake. And if his iPad gets fixed.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, it's so good. So good when it hurts. And until then, as always, enjoy those cloudy days.